they'd ready a boiling pot of water and ask both people to dip their hands in that water, and whoever came out with less of a burn was innocent.
I don't know, man. That makes sense to me. History's greatest punchline.
Welcome to History's Greatest Punchline. In this show, we explore history through the people who shaped it. These folks have left a lot of profound, maybe foolish, at times hilarious remarks, and by the end of the show, we'll invite you to help us rank what truly stands as history's greatest punchline. My name's Takumi.
My name's Max.
And welcome to this show. Today we're going to be doing episode 3 of the Japan series, Mounds of Power, the Kofun Period. Super excited to be here with you, bro.
Me too, man. I didn't think we'd make it to episode 3.
Yeah, let's not speak too soon, you know?
Okay.
At the end of last episode, you said the Yayoi period you thought was more interesting than the Jomon period. After some time since that recording, do you have any new thoughts about that, or is Yayoi still up there?
I think it still holds the throne for right now because of all the rice. Love the rice. Big fan of the rice.
Yeah, the rice
I
wars.
said that like Donald Trump. Love the rice. Big fan of the rice.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see.
We'll
The
see.
Kofun sounds interesting.
I think this era is shrouded with mystery and mysticness as well. So I think it's also going to be a cool period, and maybe the Throne Stealer.
Ooh, okay.
Alrighty,
Piqued my interest.
that's good. I'm glad to hear. So without further ado, let's talk about the time frame of the Kofun period. So the Kofun period is allegedly from 300 CE to 538 CE. Most sources agree that the Kofun period ended in 538 CE, as it was when Buddhism was introduced to Japan. Buddhism, as you can probably guess, drastically changed the Kofun period's culture and made way to the Asuka period, where it began dominating Japanese culture. So, dude, here we have it, Buddhism.
Buddhism.
Oh yeah, you know Buddhism.
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
You know, I think, like, I don't know. Can you give me like an elevator pitch type of what Buddhism is? Like, Buddhism. There we go. Got it.
Dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. I am not very knowledgeable about Buddhism either, and I intend to learn more about that. My best elevator pitch I could give you is you get to follow this guy with like a strand of hair growing out of his forehead and is curled up into a ball. You know?
Okay.
You know that? Like Buddhist statues, they have like the dot on their forehead.
Right.
That's apparently a piece of hair that's just curled up into a ball.
No way. Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
That's what I was
That's
told.
impressive.
But how's that for elevator pitch?
That was pretty shitty. I got pretty much nothing from that besides they have a really long strand of hair.
Dude, isn't that enough?
forehead. I mean,
Bro, I'd follow
is that
some
all it
dude,
takes to be a Buddhist?
Bro is like tangled, but like only on his forehead and a single piece of hair. All right, so what I want you to do, a little bit of a activity here, is I want you to open Google Maps.
Oh shit. Okay, I can do this. Okay, I got it.
And search Osaka on Google Maps. So that is Osaka.
Osaka. Okay, I'm looking at a city in Japan right now.
Huge. All right, and I want you to navigate a little south until you see an area called Kita Ward.
Wait. Okay, I think I found it. Yeah.
And you see below that a park called Dyson Park.
I do see Dyson Park.
All right, I want you to zoom into that and tell me what you see.
There's a museum. I see a lake, like a little lake. I see Itasuki Kofun. Is that what you're talking about?
Ooh, yeah, that is one of the ones I'm talking about.
Okay.
There's
I
also,
see.
other Kofuns, no?
Yeah.
Don't they look like
Um,
huge keyholes from above?
they do. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wait, there's a bunch of them.
So they are the burial mounds of past rulers and is what gives the period its name. Kofun literally means old tomb in Japanese. As of today,
Hmm.
about 160,000 kofuns have been discovered on the Japanese archipelago. They can be around a few meters in length to over 400 meters.
Damn,
Yes,
that's crazy.
sir.
Can you go into them?
You cannot. You could go in like the park area surrounding it, I believe, but you cannot go directly inside. These are sacred grounds protected by the emperor family and the Japanese government. Even archaeologists weren't allowed to go in until recently, I think.
And is there like a meaning behind the keyhole?
That's a good question, Max. We don't know. We don't know why it's in the shape of a keyhole. Kofuns have been discovered throughout most of Japan, with the notable exceptions of Hokkaido, Okinawa, and several northern prefectures. The discovery of kofuns has led historians to believe that there was an organization whose influence extended across the southern two-thirds of the Japanese mainland. In
Hmm.
addition, kofuns come in a variety of shapes. Scholars generally recognize 5 main kofun shapes, and the consistency in these forms across Japan also support the theory of a centralized authority. So within the 5 shapes are the keyhole shape. There's also one where the whole part of the keyhole is a square. There's also another one where the area where like the tooth of the key would go in is a little shorter, so it looks like a shell from above. And there are also versions where it's a simple square and circle.
Interesting. Okay.
What's compelling is the uniformity in their proportions suggests that there was a use of standardized blueprints. So this points to the possibility that the concepts of measurement was introduced to Japan around this period.
Huge. Wait, they're like 5-year-olds.
That's so
No, I mean they're learning their, you know, their ABCs and their counting and stuff.
we're gonna dig into writing soon too. So in a way, you're getting to somewhere, bro.
Oh yeah, I'm way ahead of you, man.
So, given that the largest kofun have been discovered in the Kyoto Osaka region and how they generally become smaller as we get further away from this region, historians believe this area, the Osaka area, may have been home to the said centralized governing power.
Damn. So the bigger the kofun, the more swag you got.
This centralized government is historically known as the Yamato government. Imprint that into your brain right now. Yamato
Yamato
government.
government.
Yeah, does it sound kind of familiar?
Yamato. Yamato.
Do you remember the kingdom with the shamanist queen that we were talking about last
Yes.
episode?
Yes, and no one really knew what she looked like.
They are called the Yamatai kingdom.
Yamatai. Okay.
Don't they sound similar? Yamato, Yamatai?
Yeah. Are they?
So here's the catch. We don't fucking know.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So it's famously talked about between history enthusiasts whether the Yamatai kingdom turned into the Yamato kingdom or whether the Yamato government branched off from the Yamatai kingdom or whether the Yamato was a separate entity and took over the Yamatai kingdom. Those are like the popular theories, but we don't know. After rice,
Ooh.
Kofun was the new shit. Neighboring clans of the Yamato would look at the Yamato's large Kofun and be jealous. Let's make our own Kofun. The famous
Yeah.
one is the one you're looking at, the Mozu Furuichi Kofun group. Amongst them is the Daisenryo Kofun, the largest one of them all. You can fit about 93 football fields in there.
Wait,
And by
really?
football, American football.
Oh, you can fit them in it. It's not the length of 93 football fields.
The surface area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dang, that's pretty big. And it's just, there's nothing in there. They didn't think of like making a little temple or anything.
Inside of them is kind of cool. You get a coffin, and just like you said, there's like a bunch of ornaments that the kings wanted to take to their afterlife. Kind of like the pyramids and what pharaohs did. So they got all sorts of jewelry. They got swords there. They got pots, they got armor.
What would you put there, man?
What I put in my coffin?
Yeah.
This is essentially like what I want to tell people in the future, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking like you gotta have a throne or something. You know what I mean?
Oh, you'll bring a throne with you?
Yeah, like a throne. Maybe
That's
like put some statues around. If I'm like the emperor, right? I gotta have a statue of me. Like that's gotta be a thing, right?
I always imagined when I die, I'd be cremated, and whoever is looking after my body would tie me to like a hot air balloon and would just send me flying,
Like your ashes?
Yeah, and then towards the very top of the stratosphere, the package with my ashes would be released, and into the atmosphere, my ashes just spread,
Dang.
And then everybody's gonna inhale that, and then a part of me would be inside you.
So when you die, you want to be inside of everyone. Okay. Yeah, I think that's pretty normal.
No, when I die, I want to be inside of you.
Okay. So you don't want anything on your Kofun. You just...
The Daisen-ryo Kofun is commonly recognized as the burial site of Emperor Nintoku, hence giving its other name, Nintoku Tenno-Ryo Kofun. Tenno means emperor, Ryo means imperial mausoleum in Japanese, and then Kofun. So this probably raises the question for you all, wait, when were emperors introduced in Japanese history? What is your understanding of a Japanese emperor, if you have any?
I can't say I have a very good understanding. I mean, there were multiple. Am I correct?
Yep.
And they were very powerful.
Yeah. No, I think that's what most people perceive Japanese emperors. I don't even know if like people know that Japan still has an emperor to this day. And
really?
Yeah, we do.
So is he like different from the president or whoever's in charge?
Yeah, he's kind of like Queen Elizabeth or King Charles.
Oh, okay.
And now, going back to the emperor story, the first emperor of Japan is said to be Emperor Jimmu, who ruled Japan from 660 BCE to 585 BCE. So that is like the end of the Jomon period.
Oh, okay.
But it all doesn't matter because he probably didn't exist anyways.
Oh, okay.
Is the modern day understanding of this figure. Jimmu is cool though. He's a descendant of a god. His primary weapon is the bow and arrow. His ultimate is a golden kite. So that's a type
wait,
of bird.
His ultimate?
Yeah, his ultimate.
This guy in Marvel Rivals?
He goes,
Who's this guy?
Japan! And then a golden bird comes soaring out of nowhere and blinds his enemy because it's so golden. And during that time, Jimmu shoots everybody down.
Oh my god. Is like his own people or...
No, his enemies.
Oh, okay.
He'd shoot his enemies down, and that's how he won wars. Historians widely believe that the first 9 emperors, including Emperor Jimmu, were likely mythical figures rooted in folklore. That's why they're often referred to as the legendary emperors. Pretty badass. Even beyond them, up until around the 28th emperor, Historical records are scarce, and the existence of many early emperors remain a topic of scholarly debate.
So the current emperor of Japan
Yeah.
is a descendant of Jimmu?
Question mark? It wasn't until around the 8th century where the emperor then was like, hey, let's put in this status called emperor and make it so the emperor is like the symbol of Japan. So during this time, the status of emperor didn't even exist. No one knew the word emperor. No one knew the word Tenno. They were just the strongest leaders of Japan.
So they're just following dudes. No title.
Yeah. They did have a title. The strongest person was titled Okimi.
Okimi.
But this Okimi would later transform into the Emperor Tenno. There's no archaeological proof that the mound was made for Emperor Nintoku. It is more of a knowledge that has been traditionally passed down. Similar to how the Jomuns had their dogus and the Yayoi had their dotakus, the Kofun period had Haniwas. So these are
What's a Haniwa?
these are sculptures, terracotta sculptures. So
Damn, wait, they're kind of hitting it. Look those moves they're busting.
yeah, my favorite one are the ones with like the arms flailing, and just like looks eternally confused.
Yeah, they look really shocked. These two, this looks like a cartoon, kind of. Like these are two cartoon characters.
Yeah.
Or buddies.
Yeah. But there are also versions where it's like pretty big, except they're not figurines. And they're placed on top of the Kofuns, and usually it signified that this was a sacred space. Haniwas were also, they helped with the structural reinforcements of Kofuns. And through these Haniwas, we could also see what type of fashion people donned at that time. What typing would Haniwas be if this were a Pokemon?
Oh, what typing?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, bro, I'm feeling like psychic. You know what I mean?
Ooh, yeah, that's pretty cool. Like similar to Claydol.
Yeah, psychic, maybe. Since it's clay, like, could be ground, like psychic ground. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. According to a video linked in the description below, although it's in Japanese, researchers conducted a study on how long it would have taken people at the time to construct a kofun of this scale. The results were, with 2,000 workers working 6 days per week and 8 hours a day, it would have still taken them 15 years and 8 months to complete the Daisen-ryo kofun.
Damn.
Even with today's modern technology, building a kofun of that scale would take around 2.5 years.
Light work.
Well, let's talk more about the Yamato government.
Love those guys.
The Yamato government implemented something called the Shisei system, which is essentially a class system. I don't want to go too far into politics during this time, but the government structure of the Yamato government was kind of like Disney. There was a bunch of clans running about in the entertainment industry, but the super strong Yamato/Disney clan pulled up and began consuming other clans like Pixar and Marvel without disbanding them. Disney was literally like, y'all could stay as Marvel and Pixar as long as you're chill with being part of Disney. In
Thank
other
you
words,
for making it movie related so I could get it.
makes sense? Does this make sense?
Yep. You cooked, dude.
In other words, the Yamato government was essentially a composite of a bunch of different clans. The clans within the Yamato government are referred to as Uji. So Marvel's a Uji. Star Wars is a Uji. Fox is also now a Uji. Pixar's Big Uji.
Big Uji.
And over the years, Yamato Disney would consume, because that's what they're called, Yamato Disney, would consume even more companies, and the companies would be ranked by importance. These ranked titles were called kabane. So it literally be kind of like, hey Pixar, you've been here since the very start. I'll give you the kabane title of Omi. And for you, Marvel, I'll give you Muraji. Fox, though, you're kind of a newcomer, so I'll make you make rice or something, you know, and you give that to me as a gift. So this is how the kabane system worked. And based on your kabane, You'll have different roles, and that's how people roll during this time.
Okay.
Kind of worked.
Seems very organized, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We finally see somewhat of a government structure. So here are a few reasons why this system worked. The Yamato government sent messengers to China, and as gifts, all sorts of technology were introduced to Japan. Quiz time. Da, da, da. What type of technology was introduced? There are a few answers, so don't sweat it.
Okay. Is it like some kind of crop?
Not on the list, no.
Some kind of tool.
Yeah, yeah. Tools are in there.
Okay. Like weapons? Like some kind of weapon?
Ooh, ding ding ding. Weapons were introduced in Japan. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey.
There we go. A type of animal was also introduced to Japan. An animal very important in Japanese history. What do you think that is? Extra
Ooh.
quiz. Yeah.
An animal. Is it like an animal that's only native to China?
Don't think so.
Okay. Is it like a farm animal?
Yeah, I'd say it's a farm animal.
Okay, so not like a cow. Oh, like a horse?
Yes, sir. Horses were introduced. Yeah. You know how samurais are always galloping on their horses?
Right. Oh
Didn't
yeah.
happen. Did not happen if China didn't introduce them to Japan.
Wait, that's crazy. Imagine they were like at war. And the first time you ever see a
Yeah.
horse, just like people galloping on them towards you. Like, holy shit, what the fuck is that?
Other things that were introduced to Japan by the Chinese is astronomy.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. These people, Japanese people, are too busy like making rice and looking down when China was like, look up, dude. Shit's crazy.
Look up.
There's also glass making and ceramics. So by
Right.
ceramics, not just pots, but like smaller vessels, bowls, you know. Silk fabric was also brought into Japan. Civil engineering, such as irrigation, shipbuilding, and perhaps most importantly, the Chinese writing system was introduced. And very few
There we
elites
go.
were able to read and write it. There you go. Most of these gifts were found in the Kyoto, Nara, and Osaka region, leading historians to believe that the Yamato government received these technologies from the Chinese and kept them centralized under their control. That said, a small number of these artifacts have been discovered in other prefectures, suggesting that the Yamato government occasionally distributed these as gifts. To surrounding clans, unfamiliar items like the mysterious creature known as the horse were awe-inspiring. They were like, what the heck is this? These guys who have these mythical creatures are so cool and powerful. Let us become the underlings of them and form a tributary relationship.
I get it. I mean, like a dude on a horse, I'd follow that guy.
Yeah. Unlike in the Yayoi period, we don't find many skeletons showing signs of violent trauma, which suggests that the Kofun period was relatively peaceful. With that said, there were revolutions. At times, rebellions insurrected by smaller clans. The famous one is the Iwai Rebellion. To put it simply, the Korean peninsula was having a full-out war at the time, and the Yamato government aided one of the Korean dynasties during the war, while the Iwai betrayed and supported another. We'll talk more about this if we ever get to Korean history. Alright, but let's talk about the local life in Japan. What were the commoners doing? They were more or less continuing the lives the Yayoi people had. Some had pit dwellings, other had boxed housing. The biggest game changer was the introduction of stoves, specifically the kamado stoves. Religion-wise, people are still about the Shinto animism life. Clans would build early renditions of shrines. Do you know the difference between shrines and temples?
A shrine is Isn't like it could be like a shrine to like a god or something like that. You know what I mean?
In a loose sense, yeah. In Japan, the distinction between shrines and temples is shrines are Shinto, while temples are Buddhist.
Ooh, okay.
During this time, there was also a judicial practice called Kukatachi. And this is fucking absurd, bro.
Kukatachi.
When there was some sort of issue, so let's say there was person A and B having a fight, and the court wasn't just able to decide who was in the wrong and who was in the right, they'd ready a boiling pot of water and ask both people to dip their hands in that water, and whoever came out with less of a burn was innocent.
I don't know, man. That makes sense to me.
People with higher heat tolerance are correct.
So a guy with really high pain tolerance could just be like a mass murderer, and they wouldn't know. It's like, no, guys, that wasn't me.
There's that one guy who's like awfully like, yeah, bring the Kukatachi in.
Huh, my hands, there's nothing on my hand. I'm gonna kill that guy.
We're now in the late stages of the Kofun period. From across the seas, a new wave of influence was making its way to Japan. This time, not an ethnic group, but monks. Buddhist monks. With them, Buddhism quietly made its way onto the Japanese archipelago, setting the stages for a profound cultural shift. The Japanese people thought that these massive kofuns were awesome, right? But the Buddhist monks came in and thought, what is this? Why are they wasting so much time building these massive tombs? And the Japanese people are like, yeah, that's a good point. The move.
That's exactly what I was saying. Like, what's the point of this?
And then the monks were like, you should make Buddhist temples instead. And the Japanese were like, hell yeah. And so begins the spread of Buddhism in Japan. A force that won't just shape temples and teachings, but will ripple through every corner of Japanese culture. In the next era, the Asuka period, we'll see just how powerful these ripples become. When Buddhism doesn't just influence the government, it tears it apart. So, that was the Kofun period of Japan. Hope you enjoyed it, Max. What do you think?
That was pretty sick. Some crazy stuff. Some stuff kind of makes you question what they were thinking. But
I think a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyhow, Max, after hearing about the Kofun period, what would you say is the Kofun period's biggest punchline?
Well, we got two good candidates in my opinion. Kukatachi, for sure.
Oh yeah.
That is pretty ridiculous way to go about. Like, your legal system is just burning people's hands. But I also really messed with Jimmu, like, his whole
interesting
golden flashbang bird. What do you think? Is it between those two for you as well?
Yeah, that's hard. I think the Kofuns are cool too. Jimmu and his ultimate is super cool. My only thing is Jimmu, technically, year-wise, it didn't happen during the Kofun period. So I wouldn't know if it's the Kofun period's biggest punchline. And also, a part of me wants to say Kukatachi, because at the end, we're going to do like a tournament between all the punchlines throughout Japanese history. And I kind of want to see Kukatachi, how far Kukatachi would go, you know?
Yeah, we gotta have it in there. So let's make it that.
Yeah. So the punchline for the Kofun period is the Kukatachi. The ritual of burning your hands to win your innocence.
Let's bring it back.
You know what? We always keep on forgetting.
What?
Ask the people to subscribe.
Oh yeah. Guys,
go for it.
Make sure you like, comment, subscribe for more. Click the bell. You want to be notified when a new episode comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for watching. Takumi.
Mm-hmm. What? Thank you? You're welcome.
Oh, yeah. And we'll catch you in the next one, right?
Yes, sir.
Give a sneak peek of the next week's episode?
No.
Okay.
See you guys.